So things got a little spicy last night.
Of order, and it needs
It's
to
not
be
just about
stopped.
meeting
No,
the
point of
rules.
order, if we have to
Go ahead.
bring in
I
the
don't
officer or
mind.
whatever.
Go ahead.
It's not
Go
your,
get the officer. It's not about me. All right. So for anybody who's been following the Creekside Hotel posts that I've been putting up, I wanted to do a recap because we voted last night. And warning, if you did not want that hotel to be approved, this one's going to hurt. But let's get into it. So last night, the quick recap, if you want to get in and out of this with information, is your Stewart City Commission voted 4-1. I was the dissenting vote, but voted 4-1 to move forward with and approve the 4-story Hilton True on Colorado Ave, right when you come onto Colorado Avenue, right across where Fruits and Roots is, that empty lot that's been there. But if you'd like some more detail, stick around here because I'm going to go through the meeting and some of the meat and potatoes of the actual agenda item. So let's go picture in a picture here. I've got a little bit here from Kotler, who was their consultant, just to start things off. If you're curious, what exactly was this project? Because most people, it seems like, had never heard of it. All right. But her name's Jenna Nobe. We'll go into what exactly this is and what the conditions were that they were asking
Rezoning
for.
required for these proposed uses before you this evening. This image here is a graphic rendering of our site plan that we submitted to the city for review. Starting at Colorado Avenue, you can see that public plaza. We would love for it to be a gathering amenity and increase foot traffic and pedestrian activity to the site. Then we have the 1-story retail and restaurant building that is located on Colorado to be consistent with what the existing buildings are along that streetscape and along that commercial corridor, and
which I'll get into, I thought was insane. She said that was consistent with what's on there. But at the south end here, you have Fruits and Roots Plaza, Honey over here. And you've got, they're proposing a 1-story, 5,000 square feet retail restaurant. Each one of those was 2,500 square feet. Not proposing, it's been approved at this point. But hotel, 53,600 square feet, 4-story, right behind it. And then the whole reason that this project is even possible on this 1.6 acre footprint, if you notice, there is no parking, right? There's absolutely zero parking on site. Well, not zero. There are 2 spaces, maybe 3 on site, but the rest of their 117 that they needed for this to work has to happen with this parking garage that is kind of bottom left corner that is being shared and used for this project.
entering the downtown area. Then we have the 4-story hotel located directly adjacent to it with the pickup and drop-off area. And this is situated in proximity to the existing multi-story buildings within the Royal Palm Financial Center.
And so
Within
these
the major
are the
conditional
3
use
things that they asked us to give condition for. There was smaller bits as well, but the first one I think is the most
application,
important.
there are 3 requests. The first is to locate the required parking spaces within that existing parking garage
said.
and within the existing surface parking that is directly adjacent to the site. The second request is to allow a slight overage in the horizontal length of the parapet on the hotel facade.
Parapet is like a facade along the top part that covers the air conditioning units. There was some confusion that they were asking for an increase in the height. They were just asking for additional parapet along the top to cover up the AC vents for the back neighborhood. So to me, this was not a big deal.
Facade. The 40% that is permitted under the code would equate to 64 linear feet of our hotel facade being taken up by a parapet. The 48% that we're requesting this evening equates to 77.5 linear feet. which is a difference of 13.5 feet.
skip
And
ahead.
this parapet serves
Last part
to
was like a
screen
not
the
needing
rooftop
sidewalk.
equipment, wood finishes that are seen on both buildings, as well as
So
those
this is
coastal
gonna be the
architecture features.
Conceptual rendering here.
I wanted to emphasize that the 4-story buildings and a 45-foot height is permitted within the creek. Highlights some of those modifications
it,
to a prototypical design that you would see, but you can see the coastal accent features on those stripes, that wood finishing, the muted earth tone pastels that are required within the Creek District Code.
So key point here, required within the Creek District Code, and you heard this a lot at the meeting, is everything we've proposed here, besides the conditional uses, complies with code, which is technically true. But my bigger point last night was just because you can, just because we've made this work with code, should we do it? Just because you can, should you? Is this appropriate? Is this 4-story building, the first of its kind, which I'll get into my comments as well, is this appropriate on that site?
And again, these colors and materials are consistent with the requirements of the Creek District Code.
All right, so let's do this.
The city's civil engineer,
Let's skip
Captech
ahead a little
Engineering,
bit to the
has reviewed
questions.
the stormwater report and calculations for our project and approved in the first quarter of
So
next
this
year.
is Ms.
And I
Nobe,
believe that that
Hearing.
anticipated timeframe is about
who I thought did a good
18
job. She was
months.
professional.
Thank you.
She was knowledgeable. Madam Mayor, I had questions.
Yes,
if nobody
go
else
ahead,
wants to.
any of the commissioners, yeah.
Sure.
Now
So,
it's time for question.
Ms. Nobe, because I don't know if it'll end up up there, but one point of project, being able to park it, because we cannot park it on site, save two. So, number 9, the proposed use is not out of scale with the uses permitted by right in the district and with the existing uses in the neighborhood. This project at 4 stories would be the first on Colorado. Referenced in these, exceptions here for conditional use. We talk a lot about in here about the Royal Palm Financial Center, which it is technically a part of in the plat, but those buildings are on US 1. Those 4-story large glass office buildings are on US 1. This project is on Colorado. This 4-story building would be the first of its kind at the entrance of Colorado. Would you agree?
The property is located on Colorado Avenue, that's correct.
Correct. So can you just recall, I'm sure you've looked a lot at this project. And so the thing I'm challenging is their Kotler Hearings item number 9 and their justifications for getting these conditional uses from us. And their justification was that what they were proposing here, again, was not out of scale for the surrounding neighborhood, which I couldn't see how we made that justification. Anything on Colorado that surrounds it on the other 3 sides that comes close in terms of scale to what we're proposing here?
Our 1-story retail and restaurant building will be the closest building and is located along Colorado, which is in scale with the existing businesses that are on Colorado Avenue as well.
But the 4-story hotel that is a part of this project.
The 4-story
It is also on
hotel,
Colorado.
it is situated not directly adjacent to Colorado. We had put the
Really? You would say that this parcel is not on Colorado?
The parcel in its entirety is on its east boundary adjacent to Colorado Avenue, but we did intentionally place that 4-story building to be closest to the multi-story buildings that are within the financial center, and the hotel is not
pretty hard to get a straight
directly on Colorado. The 1-story retail and restaurant building is on Colorado.
Even if we want to hang on the Royal Palm Financial area, you have that construction journal building that's behind you that's not anywhere close to 4 stories. And then you have a parking garage as the other side buffer. So what is it that you're seeing besides what's out on US 1 that comes close in scale to what we're proposing here.
That's why we had intentionally placed the retail and restaurant building, again, to be consistent with what you currently see when you're driving on Colorado.
Okay. Yeah, gotta let that one go because there's nothing. So I don't want to beat her up. But truly, there's nothing. This will be the first of its kind that looks anything like this in terms of scale. You don't have any 4-story on Colorado. And just because we're putting a 1-story sort of buffer retail in front of it, there's still going to be a gigantic 50,000 square foot 4-story box sitting on Colorado Avenue, where now there is currently a retention pond. So after that, we had about 2 hours of public comment. And I would characterize the public comment by saying, as far as I could tell, all of the people who came up who were for this project were either friends of or worked for directly Raj Patel, who is the applicant here. So he had the guys who install his kitchens, in some form or another, these were people who were friends of. Like I had one gentleman who came up who talked to me after, who installs the signage for him, that was, an advocate, of course, right? Like we're all going to potentially benefit and profit from this, but save a few, I will say the vast majority of against comments were just from people who live and are worried about the traffic, the quality of life, and then just the overall scale, small town, nature of Colorado and downtown, and how a big box, multinational corporation, Hilton True chain might damage that, coming in. So I do want to also include, if I can find him, Steve Vitale, which their family owns and operates Colorado Inn, and I thought his comment was really well said. And he was passionate. I don't blame him. I was too.
Stephen Vitale. My family owns and operates the Old Colorado Inn, which is the only existing boutique hotel in downtown Stewart. I would like to start out by acknowledging the commissioners, the staff, and all of your predecessors who worked so hard to make this town special. Likewise, I am very proud that the Vitale family has spent the last 25 years restoring so many important structures in historic downtown, such as the Post Office Arcade, the Haney Circle Building, the Coventry Hotel, the Old Colorado Building, the Owl House, the Lions House, the Clifton Guest and Fishing Lodge, the Barnes House, Ground Floor Farm, and many others. We can all be proud of our amazing town, which has been receiving recognition all over the world as one of the best small towns in America.
A lot of which because of what this guy
Longtime
does, preserving these
Jeffrey
buildings.
Krauskopf once said that we have to be very wise about our development strategy in downtown Stewart, balancing necessary growth with our quaintness, but that we would never, ever want to kill the goose which laid the golden egg, which is our historic small town charm. Unfortunately, we all know this, the character of our town has been gradually eroding over the past few years. And now we have a multinational billion-dollar corporation that wants to build 101-room big box chain hotel right at the entrance to our historic downtown, which is supposed to be a chain-free zone. It appears that the golden goose is on severe life support. What can you do about it? Here's a big part of the solution. This commission needs to start exercising extreme caution with regard to giving out special exceptions. Agreed. This is the equivalent of your veto power. You can't keep handing out exceptions like candy. If a project does not fit within our character, in other words, if it is not quaint, charming, authentic, or aesthetically pleasing, then the request must be denied. The project before you this evening is simply too intense, too large, too homogeneous, and too devoid of character, we all know it, to be worthy of this commission's approval. I'm not anti-development at all, but we really need to step up our game with regard to preserving our character, especially with regard to downtown Stewart, which is the heart of the whole county and the community. Please note that this is not even close to being a by right project. Without this commission's approval tonight of an exception to allow the use of the off-site parking garage, which will provide almost all of the required parking, the project cannot go forward. The Vitale family is prepared to continue operating a large chunk of historic downtown Stewart in its current state because we love this town, and right now we can make enough money to pay for all the rising expenses, even the increased taxes due to the multi-million-dollar four-story condos recently built on both sides of our properties. My son Christopher is here this evening, who is training to take over the management of our properties. However, if this project is approved, we may have to start building out our properties in order to compete, which would only further deteriorate the character of our town. I don't even want to think what would happen if I had to sell. About 2 blocks of historic downtown would probably become 4-story new construction with
Which good for him,
years.
man.
But let's not even think about that.
Say
Instead, let's continue to work together
because we all the time virtue signal from the commission about the historic nature of downtown Stewart and how we're going to fight for that and support it and defend it. And then an actual, where we have to choose project comes in front of us that could damage this long-standing business owner's ability to continue to invest in and rehab and take care of these historic buildings. There's really nobody doing what he's doing. And instead of honoring that, it's wild. So I'll go ahead and skip to the vote, which you guys already know how this one ends, but I think it's important
that
for you to
the
hear each one
hours
of
of
them.
operation for the pool would be
Say
from
yes.
dawn until 1 or 2 hours after dusk.
So when it comes
Okay,
time
when
to
I
vote,
made my motion, I thought that was included, and I know that the
remember.
representative had mentioned that and had explained it, so I don't have any completely.
Please.
Well, he was gonna give us an outline. That's what the building would look like with the windows and,
I got a little heated here.
All right, Commissioner,
okay. Miss Malehe,
please read it and we'll vote.
The motion was to approve as presented. The amended motion was to reduce the EV stations to 2
Yeah, they
on-site
tagged
for
on some
off-site.
nansense like
And the applicant must be
less EV
required on an annual
chargers
basis
and
to
I don't
apply
even
to the,
know.
for the, to the DEP for minimal mangrove trimming.
anybody
Am I correct?
cares.
Yes?
That really feels appropriate to you guys looking at that on Colorado? Really?
We're going to,
Yeah.
Madam Mayor,
Madam
let's
Chair.
vote.
Madam Chair,
crazy.
was that also including the removal of exotics and the yearly trimming with DEP?
Yes, she
Yeah,
was.
you have to
Yes,
yearly
yeah.
trim the mangroves. Thanks.
correct? You
Yes,
got that?
that's what I was.
Okay. Thank you. All right. We will have a roll call now.
Commissioner Clark?
Clark?
Yes.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rich?
Yes.
Commissioner Collins?
No.
Commissioner McDonald?
Yes.
And Mayor Brunner?
Yes.
And the developer was very thankful and appreciative. Listen. This one was tough. This one was putting a big box store or big box chain hotel right at the entrance of Colorado. The traffic there on that ingress egress. I just pretty tough. So I just wanted to put out this clip for those who, it was a 4:00 meeting, who can really attend and be there, and just give a little bit of information about who voted and how they voted. And I will say, if there is any justice around election time, there will be construction going on right there so that we can all remember who voted for that project. But thank you all for showing up and your comments and giving it everything you could so that your commissioners could hear your voice and know how you felt about this. Thank you for the 250 comments on Facebook, letting me know so I could share those same sentiments that you did not want this. You wanted a boutique hotel there. I relayed that information, and unfortunately, it just fell on deaf ears.